The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. President Bongbong Marcos has signed into law his administration's first national budget. Mian Los Baños with the report.
President Bongbong Marcos signed into law the 5.268 trillion peso budget on Friday. This is the first full-year spending plan approved under his administration. President Marcos said that the quick and timely passage of the bill is a good Christmas gift for him.
Well, I will have, I suppose, a Merry Christmas because this is as fine a Christmas gift as can be received by any president from his legislature.
President Marcos also welcomed the cooperation between the legislature and the executive.
There are many things that we would like to do, and we are slowly moving in that direction. We are doing all the structural changes that we need. The legislature has been very cooperative in making what amendments that we find are necessary to the laws in terms of investment, in terms of our financial policy.
Among the officials that attended the budget signing were Vice President Sara Duterte, senators and congressmen led by Senate President Mig Zubiri and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. The palace has yet to release the details of the General Appropriations Act. Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman also earlier said that the president will veto 2 to 3 items. However, based on the final version passed by the Bicameral Conference Committee, the education sector received the biggest chunk of the 2023 budget with 900 billion pesos. This is followed by the Public Works Department and the Health Department with 300 billion pesos. Senate Finance Committee Chairman Sonny Angara said that among the programs to be funded by the signed budget bill is targeted cash assistance to be given to families badly hit by the pandemic. Angara also assures the public that the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program or 4Ps will continue to be funded and other assistance for vulnerable sectors. Reporting for News 5, Mian Los Baños, we are One News.
The MMDA says car volume in EDSA has exceeded pre-pandemic levels this holiday season. Justin Punsalang with the details.
In this bus terminal in Pasay City, provincial buses are constantly loading passengers. Many of them are bound for Quezon, Laguna, and other provinces in South Luzon and Visayas. They carry with them big bags filled with gifts for the family. Among them is 66-year-old Arsenia, who is bound for Leyte. She says she was not able to come home for a long time. That's why she's excited to finally be with loved ones this Christmas.
Kasi mahirap na sumakay pag malapit na Pasko. Masaya, hindi na makatulog sa sobrang excited.
Cheryl and her 3 daughters meanwhile want to take advantage of the school break. Cheryl says it's the first time that her kids will meet their grandparents in Albay.
Bakasyon na po yung aking mga anak. Ay gusto po nilang matagal-tagal po ang bakasyon sa lola niya.
Meanwhile, the MMDA says more than 417,000 vehicles are now traversing EDSA this holiday season, higher than pre-pandemic levels.
Historically naman po, in the per month, there really is an increase po for around 10% sa ating mga pangulang ng langan. In-identify po ng MMDA ang mga traffic bottlenecks, usually po sa mga small areas. At in the coming days po, we expect rin the bus terminals and bus stations to be congested areas.
This is why MMDA recommends motorists to use the Mabuhay lanes instead. The Transportation Department is also advising the public to leave their homes early and to utilize the free rides at the EDSA bus carousel. For News 5, Justine Punsalang. We are One News.
Somalia has been tagged as the epicenter of a deepening hunger crisis that worsened by climate change and ongoing insurgencies. The details in this video from Bloomberg.
As the effects of climate change become increasingly pronounced across the African continent, more than a fifth of its 1.3 billion people don't have enough to eat, with water shortages and extreme weather events being the main contributing factors. Somalia, though, is at the epicenter of this deepening climate and hunger crisis that is gripping most severely the East Africa region. Bloomberg traveled to Galkayo in central Somalia last month, where the impact of the worst drought to impact the country in 4 decades was laid bare. Vast tracts of countryside were transformed into barren wasteland, crops had been decimated, and children were dying of starvation. One woman, Nemo Hassa, had lost 5 of her 10 children to starvation and disease within the past year, after the drought wiped out most of her family's goat herd, its main source of income. Official data shows that 900 other children under the age of 5 have died across Somalia since January. The true tally is unknown and unlikely exponentially higher, because vast areas are under the control of Al-Shabaab insurgents and inaccessible to officials and aid workers. In the area surrounding Galkayo, more than half of the children are already considered malnourished. Countrywide, more than 350,000 Somalian children have been treated for the condition this year. Almost half of Somalia's 17 million people are in urgent need of aid, and more than 1 million have abandoned their homes in search of food and grazing. Rains have failed for 5 consecutive seasons, and water shortages are even worse than in the early 1990s, when a famine claimed about 260,000 lives. The UN expects a famine to be declared soon in 3 isolated regions of the country.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Hardcourt action at the PBA Commissioner's Cup heats up as teams face off in the semis Game 2 on Friday. Magnolia Hotshots and Barangay Ginebra went head-to-head the whole match, but Magnolia's Paul Lee clutched the game at the last 5 seconds, clinching the win 96-95. Lee made the basket after Stanley Pringle shot a three-pointer for Ginebra's lead. Both teams now stands at 1-1. Meanwhile, the Bay Area Dragons beat San Miguel Beermen in its best PBA performance yet, 114-95. The Dragons were on a roll at the three-point line, sinking 17 out of their 30 attempts. The visiting team is now gearing up to be the third foreign guest to advance to a PBA regular conference finals. Game 3 will resume on Sunday. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas will continue its interest rate hike until the first quarter of 2023. The BSP has raised its key policy rates by a total of 350 basis points this year in a bid to stabilize the peso and tame inflation that's currently at a 14-year high. The Senate will now tackle the bill creating the Maharlika Investment Fund after its passage in the lower house. Neophyte Senator Mark Villar will be filing the counterpart measure at the Senate. And Fisherfolk Group Pamalakaya urges the government to permanently ban imported fish from the wet markets. The group says fish imports are hurting the local industry. The Agriculture Department earlier suspended the ban on the sale of imported fish in markets, pending a review on existing laws. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 1:30 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.